Hey guys, it's Nicole. I'm going to attempt to do a quick run through of what my plan is for my project today with Cut to You. I think both projects I'm going to do for July are going to be 4th of July themed. Mostly because we do a block party every month or every year. And I know I haven't scrapped every year, so I think that that's my plan. I went into the shop and I actually downloaded a bunch of different like patriotic cut files. I think for this page today, I'm going to use the fireworks row, I believe is what it's called. I'll put the picture up here. It was actually about half this size. I made a second one, flipped it, welded it together. This is the best one that's cut so far. I am struggling with my machine. Like I want to yeet it out the window so bad right now, because there's no rhyme or reason to when it decides not to cut great. So do me a favor. If you use a Cameo 4, can you comment down below like what your experience with the 4? I have the 1 and it has been going since 2011. Hasn't really done me dirty until the last couple months. Sometimes it cuts great, sometimes it doesn't cut all the way through, and at this point I'm just super frustrated. I know the 3 has better reviews, but I'm not really finding any 3s that are sort of new for any cheaper than the 4. So I'm kind of just, I don't know. I gotta start doing some research, but I prefer like real people's reviews. So leave me a comment down below if you have the 4 and you use it and what your thoughts on it are. So I need 2 of these. So I've got all my terrible, like this was with a double pass. It still didn't cut all the way through. This one just got chewed up. I think what I might end up doing is cutting off some of the pieces that came out better and making it look like a full row. And we're just going to go with that because at this point I'm tired of sitting here because it's taking like 20-30 minutes for it to cut when there's a double pass, and I'm over it. I need to get going on the actual process because I want to scrapbook. I'm feeling creative. I want to move on. So I will deal with these later. And thank God I already decided that I wasn't going to back them. I'm just going to use them as like a silhouette kind of thing because I want to layer stuff in front of them. So I went ahead and I've edited my photos into 2 photo collages. So most of the layout's going to be taken up with this, and then I'm going to have kind of this going across the top as like my focal point, and then kind of go from there. The only sort of planning that I've done is I did pull out these to maybe use as background sheets. I have a couple packs of paper like this that I've picked up from Tuesday Morning when they used to have stuff like this. And I've got 2 different blues to choose from, and then the other side of this one is a red, so it'll go with patriotic. And then I literally grabbed my patriotic like thing here. I can pick and choose from that. And then I did one quick run through my room. I found 2 rolls of washi tape. You guys know I don't use washi tape, but I kind of feel like this might be like an excuse to just kind of use some of it. And then I found these. I actually have a bunch of these. They're super old, but you can still get them. But they're just like a really quick border piece and you don't have to go get like a bunch. So that's where I'm at as far as the planning stages. You guys keep telling me to include these in the videos, so I'm going to. Just know that as of this moment in time, I am super frustrated, but I want to get to the creative part. So I'm going to go ahead and get to that part now. Alright, so to get started, I set aside all those rockets that I had cut out to deal with later, and I like to move on to areas of the layout that I've already made decisions on, things that I already know kind of where they're going to go, and troublesome things or things that are going to slow me down, I will kind of set aside to deal with later. And that's just kind of always been my method. I ended up deciding to go with this darker blue, just kind of, I don't know, it's like kind of grungy. I don't really know what it is. It's from a really old Echo Park collection, but like I said, when I would find those packs at Tuesday Morning, I would make sure to take them home with me because they are really good for die cutting and using for backgrounds. From there, I just kind of went through and started looking at everything that was in my like patriotic folder and figuring out a game plan. Now, when I say that, I kind of already knew that I was probably going to fall back on designs that work for me. And it's things that I like, it's things that I enjoy. And I don't think that every layout necessarily needs to be different, or that every layout needs to have like a different technique or a different arrangement of your photos and everything else. Sometimes just by switching out the theme of your products, the specific photos and the specific papers, but relying on kind of like those designs that are just in your wheelhouse or that you just personally enjoy, the layout is still going to look different. It's still going to be interesting. And again, I just go with things that work for me. Sometimes it ends up looking similar to other layouts, but I have always just kind of said that that is sort of how you start to define what your personal style is. I'm a little bit all over the place, but within that, I do kind of have like, I don't want to say like go-tos, but just things that I know that I enjoy. So a lot of times when I've got collages like this, I know that I'm going to have like a panel across the top where I'm going to have that house most of my embellishments, my title, my journaling. I'm going to do some creative trimming of some pattern paper to kind of have it look like there's layers going across, but really I don't need that much paper because my photo collage is covering that up. This is something that I have done for years. It just works for me, especially knowing that I am working with photo collages. I think if I was working with individual photos that would maybe have gaps between them where you would actually be able to see the paper behind it, then I would probably just go ahead and use like full sections of paper back here. But if not, I just do this. I kind of piece it and save a little bit of the paper. I don't need to save a little bit of the paper, but for whatever reason, I enjoy doing this, so it's what I do. I know some people enjoy putting, the full size paper behind their photos because, I've heard people say that they like seeing that the paper's getting used up and they don't have as many scraps. I know that everything's going to fit back in that folder, and that folder is sort of it for me for patriotic stuff. So if that folder gets too full, then I'll purge some stuff. But I can't even remember the last time I bought patriotic like supplies. Probably the Doodlebug 6x6 pad and the die cuts that were in there. And those are small and they fit in there. A lot of the papers that I pulled were really old. They were from Bella Boulevard. There was some individual sheets from older Doodlebug collections that were in there. To me, most of the patriotic lines I can typically mix and match pretty well, especially if I'm focused on like the ones that are like brighter colors or white based, and then some of the older ones like My Mind's Eye are more like cream based. So after I made my paper decisions and my photo decisions, you guys know that's kind of when I start working through anything else that I've sort of already made my mind up. So I went to kind of that cut file that was cut out the best, and I started with that one. I did use my trimmer to trim off some of the ends of the fireworks because I didn't want to kind of struggle with lifting up the papers and the photo collages and getting everything underneath there. And, kind of dealing with all that. From there, I had done like a quick sort through a lot of the die cut packs and pulled out things that like on a quick run through were immediate yeses for me. And I sort of start figuring out where they are. I don't take a lot of time to do like a dry run and figure out where they are. I tend to make decisions like this pretty quickly. And I think it is because this is a style or a design that I have done enough times that I just kind of know how I like to layer things, how I like to go sort of from furthest layer away, moving forward, that kind of a thing. It's just one of those things that I've done it so much that it's kind of muscle memory. And I think that that was why I went this direction with this layout. It had been a couple weeks since I had really been up here doing anything. And while I was feeling really creative and I was really wanting to play with like patriotic stuff and work through 4th of July photos, I hadn't been up here in a while. And I kind of have been doing that to myself the last couple months, where I kind of go fast and furious for a couple days, get everything done that I wanted to get done, and then I sort of don't come back in here and keep that motivation going. And it's when I keep it going that I tend to start being a little bit more creative and sort of setting aside these go-to designs that I find comforting. But those comforting designs are sort of how I work through creative blocks, or just like not, you know how it is where like you want to be in your room and you want to use your stuff, but you're not there. You're just kind of like, meh. So it's just an easy way for me to kind of get back in. I did find a way to go ahead and incorporate some of that washi tape. If I do a design like this, I like to have strips of paper kind of going between the pattern paper layers and almost creating like a shelf between the photos and the embellishment section. I've just always liked that. To me, it makes it feel more finished, and it's just something that over time I have figured out that I like. Anything from, a big chunky strip to teeny tiny strips. Like, I will just kind of start trimming paper and see what I like. In this instance, I did the heart washi tape, which I'm pretty sure is probably Doodlebug, and I think I got it in a scrap room kit. And then for the top, I switched it. So I have red at the bottom. I wanted to kind of bring some of that navy paper that I had at the bottom to the top. So I just kind of made sure that my blade on my cutter was going between the stars, so it kind of mimics like the washi tape at the bottom. From there, again, a lot of times I just keep going with the things that I have already made my mind up on, knowing that I'm probably going to go back through die cuts and stickers 2 or 3 more times and kind of continue to make decisions. I don't spend a whole lot of time trying them out and figuring out where they go. A lot of times I will put like this. I'm straight going right in with adhesive, and second try, I'm like, yep, you live here, we're moving on. I like the sort of chaotic, messy look of having die cuts and stickers all kind of nestled together like this, especially with this theme and this holiday, because our block parties are there's just a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of different things, and when you're kind of in that hosting mode, you've got a lot of stuff going on where you're not really like sitting and enjoying. You're kind of all over the place doing a lot of different things, and so for some reason in my mind, I guess I want my embellishments to kind of have that same like feel, but I also like the look as well. I kept my journaling pretty short, knowing that I was going to be kind of nestling it in there with everything. So in this instance, it ended up only being 3 lines. I just do a really quick, I don't even want to say format. Like when I go into Word, the little ruler at the top, I will just shorten it to an estimated space on my layout. So I literally looked across to the other desk and I looked at that area between like the truck and the American flag and the firework there. And I think I changed my like parameter to like 6.5 or 7 inches. So I knew that my journaling wouldn't go past that. And then I tend to just make sure that, like in this case, I had a couple words that actually went over into a 4th line. So I either change my font size or I'll wiggle the margins to make it so that my journaling is full size strips, if that makes sense. I feel like I've talked about that in the video I did sharing how I did journaling strips, but I don't really remember. I can post a link to that in the description box. At this point, I was really just kind of hoping to find a quick way to do a title. I thought it would be really cute to do some die cut letters, but really I was kind of crunched for time at this point. So I looked through all my stickers, I looked through all my die cuts to see if I had anything that said 4th of July, and I only had this little ticket. So I was like, you know what? I don't think I would normally pick a ticket shape to go with the title, but I actually really liked it in the end. I did use some of the washi tape, mostly because I was too lazy to go look for Post-it tape or anything. So I'm using the washi tape to just kind of give myself, it's not the straightest, it's not level, but I just needed something to kind of make sure that my letters weren't all over the place and that were somewhat lined up. A lot of times I'll use the pattern of the actual paper, but in this instance, they're going on top of those die cut rockets, so I just needed a little bit of help. So I am using a combo of that die that says 4th of July. I used some Simple Stories foam stickers to spell out block, and then I had some summer themed like phrase stickers. I don't even know where they came from. And there was the word party in there. So again, I just kind of made my own, and I generally like mixing different sizes and different fonts together, and in this instance I just tried to make sure that they were all the same color so that it did kind of feel like it went together. I did remember to go ahead and cut out another strip of the star pattern paper, and then again, this is where I was saying I like to go back and look through, see if there's anything else. A lot of times I'm looking for smaller pieces or something to fill in a gap. So like I wanted something on the right of the house, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I just went ahead and grabbed one of these little fireworks, tucked that in there, and then I wanted to make sure that I had something that was going to mark the date. Like I know it's July 4th, so a lot of times things like July 4th and Christmas, I'll just put the year on there so that I know where it needs to go in my albums. And then because I've got all the embellishments at the top, I've got all of my photos sort of taking up the center of the layout. For me, I like to just find a couple little things to put in the kind of empty areas of the layout to just help it not feel, I don't know, like I don't want it to be like only the embellishments live here, only the pattern paper lives here, only the photos live here. It would have been totally fine if I hadn't added anything else, but in this instance, I just wanted to add a couple little things to either side of the photo area. And then I usually like to finish with something like enamel dots, little tiny die cut pieces, little tiny something. I opened up my little tiny embellishment drawer and just tried to see if I had large and small of anything of the same color, and I came up with these sort of like medium blue sequins, and yep, we're gonna go with that. Like I try to make quick decisions and not overthink it, because I kind of feel like done is better than perfect, if that makes sense. I'm sure some of you guys know what I mean, where could I have spent 20 minutes looking for some like perfect glitter stars or made my own? Like those would have been really, really cute, or I could have even done like little red hearts or something. I just needed it to be done. I needed it to be documented. I needed to just get back into the creative mode and just kind of lean into things that I like. And so that's kind of how I make my choices. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys here with the photos of the full layout, some detail shots, and as always, I try to make sure that there are links down below for where you can find the specific cut file. You can find the blog for Cut to You, Facebook page, all that kind of stuff, and any videos that I think I've mentioned that I should probably link to. So until then, I'll catch you guys later.